Welcome back to the deep dive. This is where we take that absolute fire hose of information you send us, the articles, the research, the notes, and we try to distill it all down into something you can actually use.
And today, we are, I think, looking at something truly foundational. We're talking about the digital landscape of 2025. And this isn't just a small update.
No, this is not another algorithm tweak. What we're seeing is a continental shift, a geological event in how information is found and consumed.
It's an irreversible threshold, that's the key. For what, almost 2 decades, the entire playbook for digital success was written under one title, SEO.
Right. Search engine optimization. It was the central nervous system of the web. It guided everyone through the power of that simple blue link.
And it rewarded visibility based on a very clear metric. Positional ranking. Number 1 was the goal.
And for 20 years, that model was it. It was the definition of success. SEO is this unquestioned gravity, it just pull attention towards your website, you rank higher, you get clicked, you get the traffic.
Simple, powerful, and importantly, predictable. You could build a business on that predictability.
But now we're watching search just fundamentally change. It's moving from being a list of links to an instantaneous synthesized conversation.
That's the word. It's a conversation. You have these incredibly powerful AI systems, Google's Gemini integration, you've got ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude. They're all acting as this new front door to information, a very sophisticated mediator.
And that right there has created what we think is the single most critical misunderstanding we have to tackle today.
It's the dangerous belief that traditional SEO and this emerging idea of AI visibility are, at their core, the same thing.
They're related, sure, but confusing them.
It's a recipe for, I think, digital stagnation at best, digital invisibility at worst.
So that's our mission in this deep dive. We need to draw a very clear line between these two forces. We're going to show you why confusing them is so risky, and then lay out how to build a hybrid strategy that actually dominates in both arenas.
And we're leaning heavily on that core analogy from the source material because it's just so perfect.
It really is. Confusing SEO and AI visibility is like trying to optimize a newspaper headline for a radio broadcast.
You might get lucky, you might stumble into some success, but the system just isn't built for you. It's not designed to reward what you're doing.
So we have to clearly distinguish between traditional SEO and this new world, which people are calling a few different things, right? There's generative engine optimization, or GEO.
You'll also hear answer engine optimization, AEO, or just AI optimization, AIO. They're all pointing at the same fundamental shift.
And the stakes here, for anyone who relies on being found online for their business, their brand, their ideas, they could not be higher.
Because the goal is no longer about winning a click. That's the old prize. The new prize is far more complex and, frankly, far more valuable. It's about constructing the answer that the AI then delivers to the world.
So if you don't master both sides of this, the technical foundation of SEO and the, architectural demands of GEO, you could end up with a beautiful, expensive, perfectly optimized website.
That is completely invisible inside this new conversational search environment. You'll exist on the web, but you won't exist in the answer. And that's a terrifying prospect.
Okay, so let's start right there. That's the core provocation for this whole deep dive. We are witnessing what we're calling the great digital divorce. It's the separation of rankings from answers.
And it all starts with a really profound shift in how we as users behave online.
Let's go back in time 5 years. The old web, what was the game then?
The game was real estate, pure and simple. It was a competition for a physical spot on a page.
The top of the page.
The top of the page. A user would type in a query, they'd hit enter, and their expectation was a list. 10 blue links, maybe some ads, maybe a little box on the side.
Knowledge panel, yeah.
And SEO was designed for one thing and one thing only, to get your link into those top slots. The whole game was aimed at winning the click. That was the only conversion that mattered at that stage.
And we measured it with really straightforward metrics. We looked at rankings, impressions, and click-through rate, CTR. That was the holy grail. It was fundamentally a browsing experience.
A treasure hunt. You were given a map with 10 locations, and you had to go exploring to find the treasure.
And now that treasure hunt is being replaced by, room service. The treasure is just brought directly to you.
That's a great way to put it. The new web, the 2025 reality, is conversational. It's synthetic. Users don't want to browse first. They ask questions, often really complex, long questions, as if they're talking to a person.
And they expect an instant synthesis. They don't want a list of pages they have to read through and compare.
No, they want the definitive, coherent answer delivered to them on a platter. Whether that comes from Google's AI overviews, which are now at the top of so many search results, or from an external model like ChatGPT or Perplexity,
These tools, they're the new mediators. They stand between the user and your website.
which means the entire goalpost has moved. We're serving different masters now.
Explain that. What do you mean different masters?
Well, SEO is fighting for positioning. It's a battle for that coveted spot on a ranked list. It's about being seen first. But AI visibility, or GEO, is fighting for something else entirely. It's fighting for inclusion.
Inclusion in the final answer.
Exactly. It's about having your facts, your data, your brand's perspective synthesized into that final authoritative answer that the AI presents. It's not about being seen, it's about being used. It's about the AI remembering you as a reliable source.
This is why that analogy you mentioned is so powerful. We have to break it down. The difference between SEO and AI visibility is the difference between gravity and electricity.
It's a perfect metaphor. They are both incredibly powerful forces. They both move things, but they operate on, completely different laws of physics.
Okay, I love the analogy, but let's push on it a little. Because some people listening might think, okay, but gravity is still foundational, right? You still need it. So isn't electricity, this AI thing, just a new feature, an advanced layer on top of the same old SEO?
That's a fantastic question, and it's where the confusion comes from. People see it as just SEO 2.0.
So help us draw the line. Why isn't it just SEO 2.0?
The distinction lies in the reward system and the user interaction. Let's start with gravity, or traditional SEO. It's positional. It is immensely powerful. It keeps your site anchored to that search results page. Without it, you just float away into oblivion.
Okay, so its primary goal is clear.
Very clear. Rankings and clicks. Its discovery mode is link-based. It looks at the web as a giant web of connections, backlinks. It rewards you for optimizing mechanical signals, your keywords, your backlinks, your page speed.
And the user interaction is direct. They see your link, they click, they land on your website. The goal of gravity is to pull the user onto your digital property.
Precisely. That's its entire purpose. Now, let's look at electricity. AI visibility. Its primary goal is not a click. Its primary goal is inclusion in an AI-generated answer.
So its discovery mode has to be different.
Completely different. It's not link-based. It's context-based synthesis. It's driven by semantic and vector search, which are fancy terms for saying it looks at the meaning and the relationship of your content, not just the keywords you've stuffed in there.
It rewards different things.
It rewards structure, clarity, and authority. The user interaction is almost always indirect. Your ideas, your data, your brand's expertise, they travel through the wire, through the AI's answer, even if the user never, ever clicks a single link to your domain.
That movement, that kinetic energy, that's the electricity.
That's the electricity. And it's a flow of information, not a pull of traffic.
Wow. That makes the risk just painfully clear. If you only focus on gravity, on your rankings, and you ignore this electrical current, what happens?
You risk becoming, and this is a phrase from the source material that really stuck with me, technically present but culturally absent.
Oof. Technically present, but culturally absent.
Your site exists, it might even rank #1, it might have fantastic technical SEO, but your ideas, your core value proposition, it doesn't travel into that AI layer. Your brand becomes invisible at the exact moment the user's getting their answer.
This is where those statistics get really alarming. We're talking about zero-click search, where the AI successfully answers the query right there, and the user has no reason to click further.
And that dramatically reduces traditional click-through rates. We're talking about massive traffic erosion.
How massive? What are the estimates?
The source's site estimates that this drop could be as high as 20 to 30% in many high-intent informational categories, and that's a conservative estimate in some fields.
So a brand that's only focused on gravity, on their old SEO playbook, they're going to see their traffic just flatline or even drop off a cliff.
Even if their rankings hold steady, that's the terrifying part. You could be celebrating your #1 ranking for a key term while your actual traffic from that term is down 25% year over year.
Because you're optimizing for a metric that is rapidly losing its value.
You're optimizing for a behavior that is disappearing. The winner in the AI web is no longer defined by who wins the most attention. The winner is the one who becomes the certified source of truth that the AI models trust and rely on.
So this isn't about losing a few clicks. That's small thinking. This is about losing influence. It's about your knowledge no longer being part of the public conversation that is actively being shaped by these AI models.
Exactly. The focus has to shift. It has to move from just earning attention to actively shaping understanding.
Okay, but before we jump headfirst into this new world of GEO, you made a really important point. This does not mean SEO is dead.
Not at all. And we have to be really, really clear about this. This is not an either-or situation. Traditional SEO remains the critical structural engineering of the web.
It's the foundation.
It is the absolute necessary foundation. It's what ensures your content can be found, indexed, ranked, and crucially trusted by search engines in the first place. And here's why that's still so important. The AI models, for the most part, are still using the search engine's retrieval systems to find their initial pool of potential sources.
So if you're not in that initial pool, you have zero chance of being in the final answer.
Zero chance. You have to be discoverable by the search engine before the AI can even consider you.
So let's quickly recap those 4 core pillars of SEO, not as, a basic checklist for our listeners who already know this stuff, but to reframe them, to understand their new, specific relevance in the age of AI.
Great idea. Let's recontextualize them. So, pillar 1, keyword research and optimization. This isn't just about matching words anymore. It's not about finding the keyword with 10,000 monthly searches and writing an article about it.
So what is it about now?
It's about precisely aligning your content to user intent, explicit intent, implicit intent, and more, conversational intent. People are typing full questions into search bars. For GEO, this is the first step because it informs the semantic search. The AI needs to know what topic you are an authority on before it can even retrieve your content.
Okay, so that's pillar 1. Pillar 2 is on-page SEO. We're talking titles, headers, meta descriptions, internal links, image alt text, the basics.
The basics, but their function has evolved. In the GEO context, these are no longer just signals for ranking a list of blue links. They are now structural labels for the AI model, the AI's brain.
You just hit on something really key there. So it's less about persuading a human reader to click and more about providing, a clean data structure for a machine.
Precisely. Think about your H1 and H2 tags. Are they acting as explicit, clean extraction labels? If your title, your H1, is the definitive guide to the RAG model, the AI has a very clear expectation. It expects a definition and a step-by-step breakdown clearly labeled in your H2s. What is retrieval? What is augmentation? What is generation? This is about structural fidelity.
It's about making your content machine readable in the most literal sense.
Yes. Okay, so then we get to the external validation, the trust layer. Pillar 3, off-page SEO. This is your backlinks, your domain authority, your brand mentions across the web. This has always been about credibility, but how does an AI interpret this differently than a traditional ranking algorithm?
That's a great question because it seems like it would be the same.
It's similar, but the stakes are higher for the AI. AI models are deeply, deeply sensitive to trust signals. Off-page SEO, through those backlinks and mentions, directly feeds Google's EEAT framework. That's experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness.
And for an AI, EEAT isn't just a guideline, it's survival.
It is literally survival. A system that is prone to hallucination, to just making things up, will naturally prioritize sources that have been widely vetted, cited, and linked to by other authoritative domains. Your backlink profile is no longer just a ranking factor, it's a trust multiplier for the AI.
And finally, the 4th pillar, the one you can't ignore, technical SEO.
The non-negotiable health check. Page speed, mobile optimization, crawlability, HTTPS, core web vitals. If the crawler, whether it's Googlebot or an AI bot, stumbles at this stage, everything else is irrelevant.
It's the ticket to the dance, as you said. If the bot can't get in the door efficiently, the AI never even hears your music.
That's it. This structural integrity is absolutely non-negotiable.
And this is the big pivot. This is the reason we're doing this deep dive.
Hmm.
Here is SEO's fatal flaw in the AI age. If SEO is designed to win the click, and the user is now getting the answer instantly without clicking,
then the AI search system fundamentally does not care about your rank. It doesn't need to show a list of blue links, so your position on that list becomes a secondary, almost historical data point.
And that's the consequence, right? You can spend a fortune, you can achieve that holy grail of ranking #1 on Google for your main term, and still be completely invisible inside the AI answer layer.
Functionally invisible. And this is where we have to really hammer this point home and debunk the overlap myth.
Let's talk about that warning sign from the data. The initial study we saw claimed that only around 19% of top-ranked Google pages actually appeared in the AI-generated answers. Now, even if that number has changed and varies by query,
Right.
why isn't it 100%? or even 80%?
It's the critical question. If the AI was simply reusing Google's established ranking ladder, the overlap would be near 100%. It would just take the #1 result and summarize it.
But it's not doing that.
It's absolutely not. The fact that there's such a significant non-crossover tells us that the AI is prioritizing entirely different features during its retrieval and its synthesis phase. It's running a different calculation.
Can you give us a qualitative example?
Yeah.
Walk us through why a #1 ranked site might fail that AI test.
Okay, sure. Let's imagine a page that's ranked #1 for, say, best 4K monitors for video editing. It got there because it's on a huge tech site with massive domain authority and thousands of backlinks. Traditional SEO says it's the winner.
Okay.
But when you look at the page itself, it's a mess. It's visually complex. There's a pop-up ad, a video that autoplays the main content with the actual monitor recommendations is buried below 3 paragraphs of introductory fluff. And the factual information, the specs for each monitor, is written in these dense 400-word paragraphs without clear headings or bullet points.
For a human user who's browsing, maybe that's okay.
Yeah.
Annoying, but okay.
But for the AI system running its RAG model, that page is a nightmare. The information is incredibly difficult to extract. It lacks what we call snippability. It's structurally confusing, so the AI will simply discard that #1 ranked page.
And then I find something else.
It'll go find a clear, well-structured source that might only rank #8 or even on page 2 of the Google results, but that provides the monitor specs in a clean HTML table and the answer in a direct, easily extractable format.
So a high ranking gives you a high trust signal, which is good. But bad structure makes you unsuitable for use.
That's the formula right there. SEO is necessary for initial discovery, but it is no longer sufficient for this new kind of electrical visibility.
Which means we're moving from positional optimization to what you called architectural optimization.
Precisely. And that's a whole new world.
Okay, let's define this new physics then, this electrical current. We're going to stick with the term generative engine optimization, or GEO. So if the old goal was traffic and clicks, what is the new measurement? What does winning look like in GEO?
The new goal, the new measurement, is no longer traffic or CTR. It's citations, mentions, and influence.
We're moving into an influence economy.
That's exactly what it is. If SEO is about being clicked, GEO is about being used. The strategic prize here is so much more profound than just a visit to your website. It's about becoming the widely recognized source of truth for your topic. It's about having your data, your ideas, your brand's unique point of view shape the actual answer that the AI delivers.
So how does the AI even select that source? It's clearly not just running a standard Google search and picking the top result. Let's really drill down into the operating system here, the retrieve and generate model, the RAG model. This can get technical, so let's use a simple, practical scenario to walk through it.
Okay, perfect. Let's say you're a user and you search for something specific, like how do I securely wipe a hard drive before I sell my old laptop?
Okay, common question.
So step 1 in the RAG model is retrieval. The AI doesn't just look for pages that contain the exact keywords securely wipe hard drive. It's more sophisticated. It uses semantic search, vector search. It looks for content that is contextually related to data destruction, cybersecurity protocols, hardware resale preparation, things like that.
So it's casting a wide but very smart net.
A very smart net. And it's pulling in a diverse pool of sources. It might grab an article from a well-known tech blog, the official specification from a government body like the Department of Defense, and maybe even a highly voted-on forum discussion from a community of IT professionals.
So the retrieval part is about gathering the raw materials. It's not judging them yet, just collecting them.
Exactly. Then comes step 2, extraction and synthesis. The AI model now looks at all those raw materials it just collected, maybe 3 different step-by-step guides, and it synthesizes them. It combines them into a single, coherent, easy-to-read response for the user.
So it might pull the clearest definition of what a DoD standard wipe is from the government site.
Right, and then it might pull the recommended free software tools from the tech blog, and then it might extract the common pitfalls and warnings from that IT forum discussion. It's building the perfect answer from the best parts of multiple sources.
And this is where that structural clarity we talked about becomes make or break. If your source material is a mess, the AI is either going to create a messy, synthesized answer or more likely.
More likely, it's just going to reject your content entirely and favor the source that's easier to parse.
Correct. And then finally, we have step 3, citation.
This is the part everyone hopes for.
It is. The AI may cite its sources, giving you direct credit and, a chance at some of that residual click-through traffic. But, and this is a huge but, The information might also be absorbed invisibly.
What does that mean, absorbed invisibly?
It means your ideas, your facts, your data points, they still shape the final output. Your expertise still travels to the user, but you might not get an explicit link or mention. Your influence is there, but the direct attribution is lost.
So the crucial takeaway for anyone creating content now is this. The AI model rewards content that is easy to understand, easy to extract, and easy to trust. You're no longer just writing for your human audience. You are writing for the reader behind the reader. You're writing for the AI model itself. And that requires a complete paradigm shift in how you structure your content. It's not just about what you say, but how you architect what you say.
Okay, let's get into those key signals for AI visible content. Let's start with the big one, structural clarity. This isn't just about good graphic design, is it? We're talking about something more mechanical.
Far more mechanical. AI models are systems of logic. They crave order and predictability. So this means using clear, nested headings, H1s, H2s, H3s that explicitly communicate the content of each section. No more clever, poetic headlines.
Just say what it is.
Just say what it is. It means extensive use of bullet points, numbered lists, and tables. It means the logical progression of ideas that flows from A to B to C. If you're describing a process, it has to be linear and broken down into discrete, digestible steps.
And you mentioned something earlier that seems critically important here, schema markup.
Schema is essential. It's a non-negotiable part of GEO. Using schema types like FAQ, how-to, or article is like putting clear, machine-readable labels on your data blocks for the AI. If you use FAQ schema, you are literally prepackaging the exact question and answer the AI is looking for.
You're doing the extraction work for the AI in advance.
You're handing it a neatly wrapped gift, and if you give the AI a neatly packaged data block, it is far, far more likely to use it and cite you for it than if it has to dig through a messy paragraph to find the same information.
Okay, so that structural clarity leads directly into the next key signal, snippability. I love this word. It's the art of writing, so the AI can just lift your information cleanly without needing to edit or interpret it.
Snippability requires a lot of writing discipline. It means short, factual paragraphs. We're talking 2 or 3 sentences max. It means placing direct, definitive answers to specific questions right at the top of a section.
So no more long, winding introductions.
None. When you're defining a term, use a bolded one-sentence definition. If the AI has to spend computational energy and time editing your complex, meandering prose, it's statistically more likely to just discard your source and find a cleaner one. It's all about efficiency. The AI wants a clean lift.
We've talked about authority and trust, EEAT, for SEO, but you're arguing that for AI, the scrutiny is even higher. Why the increased focus?
Because, as we discussed, AI systems are under immense public and internal pressure to mitigate hallucination, to stop making things up.
Yeah.
And the primary way they do that is by prioritizing content that signals maximum trustworthiness.
So every claim you make has to be backed up.
Every single one. If you state a statistic, you must cite the source. You need to ensure expert attribution. Who wrote this content? What are their credentials? That robust author bio you see at the end of articles isn't just for the human user anymore. It's a critical trust signal for the model.
So if you have 2 articles on, say, molecular biology, and one is written by an anonymous blogger and the other is written by a PhD researcher from a known university with a clear professional bio,
The AI is going to choose the one with the clear expert attribution 99 times out of 100. The credibility of the source is often weighted much higher than the traditional ranking position of the page.
and the final signal you mentioned is conversational relevance. This seems to fly in the face of old-school SEO.
It's the death knell for old-school SEO writing, that old, horrible practice of repeating best blue widgets in New York 10 times in a paragraph.
Keyword stuffing.
It has to die. It's actively harmful in GEO. AI visibility rewards natural language, it rewards conversational flow and human-sounding explanations. Using a question and answer format throughout your content is incredibly effective.
Because that's how users are searching now.
Exactly. You're mirroring the user's behavior. The key insight here is that AI visibility is about being clearer, more direct, and more natural. It's not about shouting louder with mechanical keyword repetition. If your content flows naturally, it synthesizes better into a coherent answer that the RAG model can seamlessly integrate.
Okay, we have to pause here and move from content strategy to the technical side of the house. Because what you're about to explain is, I think, the single biggest, quietest killer of visibility for literally thousands of modern websites, no matter how good their GEO content strategy is.
This is the JavaScript blind spot.
And we need to put a huge flashing red light on this topic. This is the existential threat facing so many modern web architectures right now.
It is genuinely existential for a lot of sites. Here's the core problem. Googlebot, Google's main crawler, has evolved over many years. It's incredibly sophisticated. It can fully execute JavaScript, wait for things to load, and see a page almost exactly like a human user does.
But the new AI crawlers aren't Googlebot?
They are not. Many of the new crawlers, especially those operating outside of Google's primary index for models like ChatGPT, are far more primitive. Or they're just more resource limited. So they often do not fully execute JavaScript, they frequently do not scroll down the page, and they do not wait for dynamic content to load.
So let's translate that. If your beautiful modern website is built using a framework like React or Vue or Angular or even some of these really sophisticated WordPress themes, and most of your content, your product descriptions, your data tables, your actual article text, is loaded dynamically after the initial page load, what does that AI crawler see?
It lands on a page that looks empty. Or a page that just contains your navigation menu and your footer, but none of the actual meat.
The core content is invisible.
Invisible. The community summary that we started in the source material is perfect, and we have to repeat it. View page source. If your main content isn't in the raw HTML, the AI cannot see it.
Let's use an analogy to make this crystal clear for everyone listening.
Yeah.
Imagine your website is a delivery truck, and your amazing content is the package inside.
Okay, I like it. So a traditional old-school website with server-side rendering, or SSR, is like the delivery truck arriving with the package sitting right there on the front seat in plain view. The AI crawler opens the door, looks at the raw code, and the content is immediately visible.
Simple. Easy. But a modern site that relies heavily on client-side rendering, or CSR, using JavaScript, that's a different truck.
That's a truck that arrives with an empty cab. The driver, which is the JavaScript code, then has to run this elaborate, complex script. It has to go to the back, unlock a hidden compartment, assemble a box, and then place the package on the seat.
And the problem is that these simple AI crawlers, they just see the empty cab, assume there's nothing there, and drive away long before the package ever appears.
They either assume nothing is there, or they time out waiting for the content to materialize. This single technical issue is quietly erasing thousands of highly sophisticated e-commerce sites, detailed financial reports, interactive data dashboards. It's erasing them from AI visibility.
So you are technically present to Google because Googlebot is patient and smart enough to wait for the package. But you are completely invisible to ChatGPT or Perplexity or other models, which dramatically narrows your electrical reach.
Your potential for influence is cut in half or more.
This means that a brand new $50,000 agency website that was built last year could be functionally invisible to AI search right now, simply because the developers didn't run this crucial view page source test.
It happens all the time, which is why we need to detail the common technical failures and, more importantly, the specific fixes. This is an urgent survival skill for 2025.
All right, let's do it. What's failure one? Dynamic loading.
So as we've said, the impact is the AI sees a blank page because the content hasn't been generated by the user's browser yet. The essential fix here is server-side rendering, SSR, or at the very least, creating static fallbacks.
Explain SSR simply.
SSR means that instead of sending a shell of a page and a bunch of JavaScript to the user's browser, your server does the work. It processes the JavaScript, builds the final complete HTML page with all the content in it, and then delivers that finished file on the first request. The AI crawler sees the complete rendered package immediately.
And if full SSR is too big of a project,
if it's technically impossible or too expensive in the short term, you must implement a robust static fallback for your most critical text content, a version of the page that at least contains the core information in raw HTML.
this sounds like a massive engineering undertaking for large, complex sites. It's not a simple switch you flip.
It's a significant commitment. It requires real engineering time. It means moving away from the easier, often faster deployment of these pure client-side frameworks. But it is now the cost of doing business in the AI age. Ignoring this is actively choosing invisibility.
Okay, what's next? Failure two. Infinite scroll. This is everywhere. E-commerce category pages, news feeds, social media.
And it's a huge problem for crawlers. If you have a long list of products or articles that only loads more items as the user scrolls down, the AI crawler will almost always only see and index that initial viewport, the first 2 or 3 items. Everything below that, which is loaded by JavaScript as you scroll, might as well not exist.
So what's the fix for that?
The fix is, honestly, a step back in time. You need to implement traditional pagination. Breaking those long feeds into separate linkable pages, page 1, page 2, page 3, or at the very least ensuring that all the critical content that you want indexed is pre-rendered in a static format before the infinite scroll mechanism even kicks in. You have to give the crawler a hard, static link it can follow to find that deeper content.
And the third major technical failure point you mentioned is client-side hydration. This one sounds a bit more subtle.
It's a subtler failure, but just as damaging. This is a scenario where the content does eventually load in the browser, but only after a series of complex client-side scripts have run to hydrate the page with data. The content is missed or severely delayed from the crawler's perspective. The fix is to ensure HTML-first delivery of all your essential information.
What do you mean by essential information?
The information that defines the page, the main product description, the core article text, the key definitions and data points, that stuff must be in the initial raw HTML file that gets delivered. The fancy interactive elements can load in later to decorate the page, but the core substance must be there from millisecond 1.
So the actionable advice here, and we need to just tattoo this on our brains, is you have to test your site by using view page source. You have to look at the raw code. Don't just trust how it looks in your Google Chrome browser. And you have to start thinking beyond Googlebot when you use your SEO tools.
You have to audit your JavaScript implementation with the AI crawler's limitations in mind. Because if you don't make this fundamental technical adjustment, all the brilliant GEO content optimization we're about to discuss is completely moot.
It's like having the world's most amazing content trapped inside a locked safe that no one has the key to.
That's a perfect analogy. The content is there, but the retrieval mechanism completely fails.
Okay, this brings us to where the science truly meets the practice of GEO. Because up until now, a lot of this can feel like guesswork. But the sources you sent over highlight this really seminal piece of research. A comprehensive study that tested 9 specific optimization techniques across, 10,000 queries?
10,000 queries. And critically, they weren't measuring search ranking. They were measuring visibility inside the generated AI responses.
And that's what proves that GEO is its own distinct measurable discipline. It's not just a set of best practices, it's a science.
This research is the foundational text for the new physics of the web. It showed us, with data, precisely what these large language models prioritize when they are in that critical retrieve and generate phase. So we need to dedicate some serious time to breaking down these 9 black box techniques one by one.
Let's do it. Let's start with technique 1, authoritative style. What did the research tell us about how the AI responds to the tone of the writing?
This was fascinating. It refers to using confident, declarative language that signals undeniable expertise. So, for example, writing, "The definitive solution is X because of Y data," rather than a more timid, "The solution might be Y," according to some experts.
So the AI prefers confidence.
It seems to. In its mission to provide a single, trustworthy answer to the user, it favors content that sounds certain and decisive. This is especially true in fields that demand conviction, like, say, financial strategy, regulatory compliance, or scientific findings. It wants to project that same confidence to the end user.
But there's a fine line there, right?
Yeah.
Certainty can easily slide into exaggeration or unsubstantiated claims, which is dangerous territory for an AI that's trying to be truthful.
And that's the critical nuance. The research was clear on this. You must assert clarity without exaggeration. You can't make hyperbolic claims that aren't immediately backed up by data. Overconfidence without external proof actually invites hallucination, where the AI might take your flawed, overly confident source and generate false but authoritative-sounding information.
So it's about confident reporting of facts, not just confident-sounding opinions.
Precisely. It's a journalistic standard, really.
Okay, technique 2 was cited as one of the absolute highest-performing levers you could pull: statistics and quantitative data. Why did this give such a huge performance boost?
This is all about factual density. It involves embedding hard numbers, percentages, financial benchmarks, and measured outcomes consistently throughout your content. The source material noted that some of the entities that focused heavily on this saw their AI-referred sessions surge by over 500% in the early days of implementation.
500%. That's a staggering number. But why? What is it about numbers that the AI loves so much?
Because data anchors credibility in these RX systems, a number is a verifiable fact. It provides a precise data point that the AI can lift cleanly into its synthesis. It elevates your content from the realm of opinion into the realm of verifiable truth. It's much harder to argue with a 52% increase than it is with a significant increase.
So instead of writing, many companies are seeing better results in this strategy. You have to write, in our Q3 study, companies that implemented this strategy saw an average conversion lift of 18.7%.
Exactly. And the research was highly prescriptive here, which is rare and valuable. It offered a practical rule of thumb. You should aim to add a meaningful statistic or data point every 150 to 200 words.
Wow, that's really frequent.
It is. It forces you to ensure your content is consistently fact-dense and easy for the AI to parse as a series of high-value data blocks.
Okay, so if you have the data, technique 3, source citations, is about proving where you got it from. It's the external validation of those statistics.
Exactly. This means including explicit references to credible external sources within the text itself. Usually, parenthetical citations or footnoted references. The AI is constantly trying to cross-check trust. A high density of citations signals to the AI that the author has done their homework and isn't just making numbers up.
So the AI prefers sources that are widely corroborated by other trusted sources.
Yes, and the quality of your citations matters immensely. The best sources to cite are, as you'd expect, .gov and .edu domains, academic journals, established white papers from major research firms, and reports from major industry institutions.
And there was a really interesting observation in the research about the effect this had on lower-ranked sites.
This was one of the most encouraging findings. A site that ranks poorly in traditional Google search, maybe it's new, maybe it doesn't have a lot of backlinks, but is packed with meticulously well-cited, fact-checked content, can see a disproportionate boost in its GEO visibility.
Why is that?
Because the citations immediately lend the content a layer of credibility that its low domain authority might not otherwise convey. They are essentially boosting their trust signal dramatically in the eyes of the AI, allowing them to bypass the traditional ranking hierarchy purely through diligence and corroboration. It's a way for quality to beat authority.
That's a powerful equalizer.
Okay.
Technique 4 introduces the human element back into this machine-driven world. Quotations from experts.
Yes, using direct quotes with proper attribution, so name, title, and organization, is highly effective. This does two things. First, it adds a layer of human authority, which the AI recognizes. Second, it provides crucial attribution hooks that the AI can easily extract and reuse when it's synthesizing an answer.
So the AI might actually say, as Jane Doe, Director of Research at XYZ Corp, notes.
Precisely. And that's fantastic for your brand and for the expert's credibility. It's particularly effective for content in fields like social science, history, policy debates, or really any field where a named human perspective is a key part of the factual truth. It makes the AI's synthesized answer richer, more reliable, and easily verifiable.
Okay, technique 5 is almost a rebellion against the last decade of content marketing, which often trended towards overly sophisticated, thought-leadery writing. This one is simplicity and accessibility.
It really is a revolution. The research showed unequivocally that AI rewards content that is usable across the widest possible audience. This means deliberately using clear, plain language. The study actually suggested targeting around an 8th grade reading level.
An 8th grade reading level
Yeah.
for potentially complex topics.
Yes. Because simplicity significantly outperforms sophistication in the AI's extraction phase. Think about it from the machine's perspective. If a key concept is buried in complex, polysyllabic academic prose, the AI has to spend more computational power and potentially sacrifice accuracy to parse and synthesize it. Simplicity is efficiency. Simplicity is clarity. And the model is optimized for both.
So the takeaway is, stop trying to sound like a PhD thesis unless you are literally writing for a niche academic journal that other PhDs will read.
Exactly. Write as clearly and accessibly as you possibly can, even if the underlying concept you're explaining is incredibly complex. That's the real mark of expertise anyway.
That's a great point. Okay, technique 6 is fluency optimization. This one feels a little abstract. How does a smooth flow between paragraphs actually help a machine that's just extracting data blocks?
It's a great question because it seems counterintuitive. Fluency means using smooth transitions and maintaining a logical, step-by-step flow between your ideas and your sections. This improves the coherence of the content that the AI extracts and then summarizes.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Imagine the RAG model pulls three separate paragraphs from your web page to build part of its answer. If the first paragraph is about the history of a topic, the second one suddenly jumps to a technical specification, and the third one is a case study, with no transitional phrases connecting them.
The resulting synthesized answer from the AI will be choppy and confusing.
Exactly. It'll be a Frankenstein's monster of text. The RAG system wants to pull a coherent narrative block that it doesn't have to do heavy lifting to rewrite or reorder. Smooth flow in your source material makes for a smooth flow in the AI's output.
And the research found a compounding gain here, didn't it?
Yeah.
It worked best when paired with another technique.
Yes. Fluency optimization was found to be most effective when it was paired with technique 2, the use of statistics. So smoothly explaining and contextualizing high-density data points ensures that the data is not only credible, but also makes sense within the narrative of the synthesized answer.
Okay, now for the vocabulary section. Techniques 7 and 8, which are about unique vocabulary versus technical terminology. Let's start with unique vocabulary. Is it good to use clever or unusual words?
The research showed this has a very mixed effect. On one hand, using slightly distinctive but still relevant word choices can sometimes help with vector retrieval because it makes your content stand out from the sea of sameness. However, if that uniqueness comes at the cost of clarity, it backfires spectacularly and just confuses the semantic search.
So the advice is to use it very sparingly and only when it genuinely enhances the precision of what you're saying.
Exactly. Don't be clever for the sake of being clever. Technical terminology, on the other hand, is essential for domain-specific fields. If you're writing about medicine or engineering or finance, you have to use the correct terminology.
But there's a huge caveat there.
A major caveat: you must define the terms you use. If you use deep technical jargon without providing a clear, simple definition immediately afterward, you risk narrowing your retrieval pool too much. Remember, the AI's goal is often to explain a complex concept to a layperson, so you have to provide both the jargon for accuracy and the simple explanation for accessibility so the AI can use both parts.
You're giving it the tools it needs to teach the user.
You're equipping it to be a good teacher. Yes.
And finally, technique 9. This one isn't a recommendation. It's a clear warning shot across the bow of old-school SEO, keyword stuffing.
The research verdict on this was unambiguous. It is actively harmful to your GEO visibility.
So it doesn't just not help, it actually hurts you.
It actively reduces your visibility. The AI is semantic. It understands meaning and context. When you over-repeat a keyword, you confuse the AI's synthesis process. It signals low quality, low authority, and it makes a clean, fluent extraction of your content impossible. It is a legacy SEO tactic that must be entirely and permanently abandoned for anyone who wants to succeed in GEO. It is a poison pill for AI visibility.